Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing well because today we're talking about some new upcoming music. We're also looking at the world through a bit of a different lens. I got a new camera setup, audio setup happening, so I hope it works out. Did some test runs at work, but let me know, how it sounds compared to the other videos because I know it's trying to, improve this setup. Let's get to the music. That's what we're here for. That's key. So today we're looking at the upcoming album from Calgary, Alberta's Territories. It's called Colder Now, given the time of year. Yeah, I'd say Alberta's definitely getting colder now. So this is getting released on Pirate Press Records on coming out on November 3rd. I was given a preview copy from Pirate Press. So once again, thank you so much for that honor and privilege to hear some fantastic punk rock and roll. So for those of you who do not know, Territories are a newer-ish band formed in 2015 in Calgary, Alberta, featuring members of Canadian punk icons Knucklehead, which is amazing. I had not known that, and then finding that out, I was like, man, I love Knucklehead. That's amazing. Now, or I would describe this album and Territory sound in general as kind of, working class punk rock. So think of Social Distortion, Nebraska era, Born to Run era Bruce Springsteen. Throw in, I think, a really good influence of Bouncing Souls. Bouncing Souls is what hit me first, and then I was thinking more as like, oh no, Social Distortion, I think as well. Take those, mush them together, and through the lens of kind of that, not Midwest, but sort of that prairies working class spirit. I think you get a really good idea of what's on here, and it's just so powerful. It's amazing. It's 11 tracks long, and each track on here feels essential. It feels complete. It feels really, really heartfelt. It's amazing to hear music when like every track feels really important and necessary. And I love that about new music coming out, especially from Pirate Press. It really feels of its place, the title Colder Now. It just really feels like it needs to come from Alberta. It needs to come from these people writing these songs. It doesn't feel like it could come out of anywhere else. There's those influences I named and listed, but it feels like it's coming from these folks. And that's also something I love when you hear music, especially new music, that you're like, only these people could have done it in this way. Um, it's fantastic. It's the kind of music that like makes you want to do better in life, makes you want to believe in something. Again, it's not that kind of like very targeted or hyper political lyrics. We're not singing about like anti-capitalist anthems, but a lot of the lyrics talk about the things we all go through, especially as members of the working class. Kind of what are the struggles that we're facing, and what do we do, and what do we rely on to make the world a better place. And invariably it's always each other, it's our friends and our family, and it's maybe the things we do over the weekend. Maybe it's coming together and talking about the boss and things like that. And it's really cool to hear. So for those of you who watched my review of the Insiders album, that Bring Back the Weekend, that came out a while ago, I also said on that one, like, it's really hard to narrow down which tracks I should really recommend without going track by track. And that's simply because, like I said earlier, 11 tracks long, each one feels essential. But I tried on this time. I'm like, okay, we're going to pick four. We're going to pick four. Because again, taking notes by hand, I end up saying, this is a gem. This one's got a good beat or whatever. But I picked four. And I feel real bad for only picking the four I picked, but it's like that's almost half the album. Um, and I believe one of these is actually put out currently as a single, which is fantastic. So the four I'm going to recommend are Hello Outsider, Powder Keg, which I believe is out as a single, so you can hear that now. 7 Pounds of Hope, and The Company. The Company, especially, it's written in the context of the Alberta oil sands and tar sands, and these companies kind of laying off workers. As we're hitting peak oil, the companies are finding this unsustainable practice is unsustainable, not just environmentally, but economically. It's more and more expensive to actually get that oil out of the earth. And so these workers that flocked to Alberta, on the promise of long-term jobs, well-paying jobs. Certainly these jobs are well-paying, but we all know how dangerous they are. we know there's long-term health effects. And now we're seeing more and more, we're seeing how much these companies don't actually care about the workers. And that's kind of what the track the company speaks to, is just that these companies really ultimately only care about profit and making money, which is capitalism. We shouldn't be surprised. But then hearing that under the guise of, company loyalty, and we certainly have this idea in Canada of the oil sands as being a part of our national identity, and sort of we've moved away from that agricultural image we have of the prairies and built it into heavy industry. And the company really, really speaks to that. But generally speaking, Colder Now, out November 3rd on Pirate Press Records. It's going to be a fantastic album that you should really check out, especially if you're into that kind of social distortion, bouncing souls, like the rock part of punk rock. And you just want to hear some good, like, speaking to me on my way into work in the morning, on the bus or in the car, stuck in traffic, whatever it is. Check it out. This is going to be one to watch. I think it's going to appear on a lot of top 10 lists for punk at the end of the year. So Territories, Colder Now, November 3rd, Pirate Press. Check it out. See you next time.